FHA gets a bad rap, especially when compared with conventional financing. Today, I've got 5 reasons why I think FHA is actually better than conventional. And at the end, I'll share another half reason, so stick around for that. My name is Scott Wynn. I'm a licensed mortgage advisor in Colorado with the Wynn and Egan team at Citywide Home Loans. Are you looking to buy a home, but don't have a ton of money to put for down payment? No problem. That's our specialty. We help home buyers just like you looking to buy a home with little to no money down. FHA is a great way to buy a home with little money down. And that's our first reason why FHA is better than conventional financing. FHA only requires a 3.5% minimum down payment. If you compare that to conventional financing, it's 5% down with a conventional loan. One of the major reasons why FHA is better than conventional financing in terms of down payment. Now, conventional financing does have some exceptions that allows for a down payment as little as 3%, but there are certain requirements you have to meet in order to use those programs. Programs like the Home Possible or a Home Ready program that have income restrictions. The second reason why FHA is better than conventional financing is related to credit score. See, the minimum credit score on an FHA loan is just 500. Conventional requires 620. Now, with FHA financing down to a 500 credit score, you do have to have a 10% down payment, which most people won't have, especially when you're looking at FHA financing. So if you're looking at minimum down FHA financing, you still only need a 580 credit score compared to conventional's 620. Now, the third reason why FHA is better is related to number 2, but it's a little bit different, and that is the credit requirements associated with qualifying for an FHA loan. See, there are certain time restrictions that must be met after major derogatory items have hit your credit, things like foreclosures or bankruptcies. So let's take a look at this. See, with FHA financing, you can get a mortgage after just 4 years from the date of the foreclosure. Conventional financing, on the other hand, requires a 7-year time to pass before you can qualify. Now, when it comes to bankruptcies, there's 2 types of bankruptcies that we see most common. The first one is a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And after a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, we must document at least 2 years from the discharge date in order to qualify for FHA financing. With conventional, it's 4 years. And if you've had multiple bankruptcies, it's 5 years. The other type of bankruptcy is a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, where you're in repayment through the court. Now, with FHA financing, as long as you have 1 year of on-time payments and approval from the courts, you can do an FHA loan. Conventional, on the other hand, requires 2 years from the discharge date before you can do a mortgage using conventional financing. The next reason, the fourth reason why FHA is better than conventional financing is because of mortgage insurance. See, with a 30-year fixed minimum down FHA loan, the mortgage insurance rate is 0.85%. With conventional, who knows? In fact, it can range. It can range from 0.38% to 1.42%. That's a pretty big range. And here's why. See, with FHA financing, the mortgage insurance comes with the loan approval. With conventional financing, the mortgage insurance is done through a private company, which is why it's called private mortgage insurance. There's a chart here that shows you how mortgage insurance is calculated on a conventional loan. It depends on the amount of down payment and also your credit score. So if we take a look at this, what you can see here is that at the best credit scores, at a 760 or higher credit score with 5% down payment, the mortgage insurance rate is 0.38% on a conventional loan. Quite good, much, much better than FHA financing. However, if we go to the other side and we look at a credit score between a 620 and 639 with 5% down, you're looking at a mortgage insurance rate of 1.42%. Much, much higher than FHA's 0.85%. You have to go all the way to a credit score of 700 or above in order to get to a mortgage insurance rate on a conventional loan that is better than FHA's. Rounding out the 5 reasons why FHA is better than conventional financing is seller contribution. Now, no mortgage allows for a seller to contribute towards your down payment. However, they do allow contributions towards your closing costs. And with FHA financing, the maximum amount of seller contribution is 6% of the purchase price. With conventional, just 3%. Now, normally you're not going to run into an issue where you're going to need a full 6% or even over 3% of seller contribution to help in covering some of the closing costs. However, there are going to be certain circumstances where that may come into play. An example might be if you want to buy down your interest rate, or if you're possibly using a down payment assistance program that might carry higher costs, like an origination fee or an additional processing or underwriting fee that gets charged, and therefore you would like the seller's contribution to help offset that cost. That's where this contribution from the seller may come into play and may be necessary to exceed that 3% maximum allowable for conventional financing. So that's the 5 reasons. But there's another half reason I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and here it is. See, FHA loans are what's called qualifying assumable. Huh? What does qualifying assumable mean? Well, let me explain. Let's just say you purchase a home today, and 10 years down the road, you're looking to sell that same home. Well, currently, mortgage interest rates are very, very low. In fact, we're at historic low levels with interest rates. And let's just say that interest rates return back to normal. Well, first of all, what's normal? Well, I pulled interest rates going all the way back to April of 1971 through August 20th of 2020 to look at what the average interest rate was. You know what it is? 7.94%. Now, this last week, as of August 20th, we're looking at an interest rate average nationwide of 2.99%. That's quite a big difference. And when you look at it from a monthly payment perspective, it gets pretty real. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say you have a $300,000 loan at a 7.94% interest rate. That results in a principal and interest payment of $2,189. Now let's compare that same mortgage at a 2.99% interest rate. If we do that, what we end up with is a principal and interest payment of $1,263, a difference of $926 a month. Now that's some significant money there, right? Now, some people might be saying, well, maybe with conventional financing, there may not be mortgage insurance, where with FHA there would be. Well, let's take a look at it, even if we do include monthly mortgage insurance. If we do include the mortgage insurance, which at that point in time would be about $161 based on the remaining balance, that's still a difference of $765 a month in the cost of the mortgage for principal and interest and mortgage insurance. So how does this have to do with FHA and qualifying assumability? Well, here's what it means, is that there's value to that lower interest rate that you have. See, when you are looking to possibly sell 10 years down the road, and if you have an interest rate of 2.99 and we're closer to the averages around 8% in interest rates, you're going to want to potentially sell your home and allow the buyer of your home to take over your mortgage. Because again, there's significant value to that on a monthly basis. And that's where qualifying assumability comes in. Somebody can take over payments on your FHA mortgage as long as they can qualify. And if they do, then you'll be able to get potentially a higher price on your home in comparison to a conventional loan. Conventional does not have that ability. So how likely is this? Well, I don't know. And that's exactly why it's only a half reason rather than a full reason why this is a good benefit of an FHA loan compared to conventional. So there you have it, the 5.5 reasons why FHA is better. Do you have a question about FHA, or maybe a question about a completely different topic? If so, leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible and maybe even record a video just like this.